Hey folks, welcome to Property and Preparedness, and today we are going to focus on the property side of things. So if you are getting ready to sell your house or looking to buy a new property, especially if you're going from a suburban or urban setting out into the country, maybe this will help save you a few dollars and help you make the educated and correct decision when doing that. Now, a lot of times when you move from an urban area or a more densely populated area out into the country, you're going to have a home that's older. Not always, but generally speaking, because developers like to maximize those units per an acre. So it does not benefit them generally to build out into the country. You see new construction out there. Generally, it's just a single family homeowner, property owner that is doing it for their own personal desires and not somebody, trying to flip a house. Now, this has come to light a lot more to me recently because we are preparing our home for sale and we're looking to move out of state. Well, as I've talked more to my real estate agent, just gauging everything, and this is something I've known forever, but it's just now it's front of mind. People, generally speaking, when they go to look for a home, they have no idea what they're looking for. Nothing, not whatsoever. If they don't have somebody who has some kind of construction experience or somebody that knows them, or somebody that they can bounce things off of and get feedback from, maybe they have a really good real estate agent, hopefully. Most real estate agents are not that good, but that's just the nature of any business. But they'll go in and they'll see maybe dated design cues, especially in some of these older country homes. And so what I am encouraging people not to do is don't walk into one of these properties and use your eyes and emotions from like how does it initially make you feel, because you're going to see maybe like gold light fixtures or really cruddy grungy looking carpet or trim that doesn't really maybe match what you would like to, or paint colors that are way off, or compartmentalized rooms even. You want to go through these houses and you want to get the feel for the layout. Not only what the layout is, but what the layout could be. Generally speaking, you can't always tell this, but somebody who knows construction can give you a pretty good idea of what walls are load bearing, especially if they have a basement, and you can go down there and check out the basement supports as well. But you can, generally speaking, know what walls can be moved. And for the most part, if you walk in and you have really nasty carpeting, just as an example, putting down flooring, generally not that hard. Should be fairly easy to find a handyman that can do that. So it doesn't have to be a contractor, or you can teach yourself, or maybe you have a family member that does that. Anybody can teach themselves how to do interior painting just fine. That goes along the same lines as, like, if you have to recaulk trim and things like that, you can teach yourself all these things, right? And these are all cosmetics. So if you're in that house and if you're checking out the floor plan, if the flow is there, so the hard infrastructure of the home is in locations you're happy with, especially true when it comes to kitchen, because you have those heavy appliances in there that if you move that all around, now you're talking about moving, large electrical, maybe propane or gas lines, and those things can get quite expensive. So if things are positioned well enough, especially the stove, refrigerator, dishwasher, sink, those are positioned in good spots. The bathrooms are in good locations for your family. The bedrooms are all on the floors that you desire. Now we're in business. Even if the home is hideous and you hate the way it looks all the way around, right? Because that's just getting distracted by the lipstick. If all those we'll just call them hardscape items, I'm not sure what the best term for that is, but if all of those are in a layout that you're comfortable with, especially if hey, that little 6-foot wall between the living room and the kitchen, if you're pretty darn confident that's not load bearing, now we're really in business, because we're talking about, you can go buy a really nice laminate flooring for $3 a square foot, $3.50 a square foot. Now you got to decide what padding or vapor barrier you want underneath that, but so these are easy fixes. Trim is not expensive, and generally speaking, is not expensive to install, depending on where you live. If it's super hard to get a contractor or someone who is capable of doing that for you, maybe maybe that does become an issue. But most people who've used a skill saw, or used a miter saw, and used a nail gun can do trim pretty easily. At least for their own personal needs, they could get by. And so it would be important, if once you have that really nasty carpet, just walk around on it, feel the floor underneath. Does the floor feel saggy and bouncy and wavy? Then okay, now maybe we have a structural issue and we're talking more dollars. If it feels really sound underneath, you can tell it's concrete or just a really good subfloor. Now you know, hey, we can rip this stuff out. You can do that yourself as the new homeowner. You don't necessarily need to have the installer do that, so that would save you money. Then you can pay to have brand new carpet installed, or put a laminate down or something that is more your style. And the same goes with, bathroom fixtures. Is the stove, if the stove is in the right spot, now we're talking, hey, okay, that stove's from 1991. It's hideous. It's an electric stove. I can just put in a new electric stove that's going to fit. Same spot. I'm happy with the location. Now it's just plug and play. You're getting that old nasty thing out of there. Same with all your appliances, your washer and dryer. Just be aware of what your washer and dryer, if they have a propane hookup or a natural gas hookup or an electric dryer, a lot of times that throws people off, and then they got to have one or the other installed for their desired appliances there in the laundry room. Pardon me. And so now we move into the realm of, okay, how much of a discount is this house showing at? Because of multiple reasons, people don't prepare houses in the typical sense of, the HGTV thing, where everything's kind of set up, staged, freshly painted, all that stuff. There's a lot of older couples that may either don't have the time or the money to make their house look pretty. They're just like, hey, we're ready. We're heading to Florida. Let's just sell it as is. The kids are encouraging, hey, don't stress out about, fixing every little thing. Let's just clean it out, get all your stuff out and sell it. Same with estate sales. Parents pass away, grandparents pass away, kids, grandkids, they just want to sell it in as-is condition. And you'll have just dozens of people go into this house, and maybe the price is good, the land is good, but the average buyer cannot get past the lipstick. I cannot say this enough, that if you are situationally aware of these things that we're talking about today, understanding the difference between really expensive items, and we're disregarding things that would only come up in a home inspection generally, just things you can tell as a prospective buyer of this property that you can at least make educated guesses about. People are generally lazy. Like, they walk into the house and they can be tricked in either direction by things like paint color, things like light fixtures. So all things that generally a homeowner can take care of by themselves, yet their mind is instantly taken to those things rather than the flow of the home and the layout, materials. Here's another thing. Old farmhouses, like, you can get wood molding in there that is just like, and I don't mean mold, I mean like legit, like crown molding and thing, like really ornate wood trim that you cannot get that anymore. I mean, you would be talking $3,000 or $4,000 to trim a single room now. Where if you use the precast stuff now, it'd be like maybe $300 to trim out that room. I mean, just really beautiful wood that you just have to, maybe watch some YouTube videos and learn how to bring that pop and that vibrance back out of that wood, where a lot of people just look at it and be like, oh, that's grungy and old, and they're going to walk out the front door and they're not going to give it a second look. So you can, last thing, I want to point this out. Look underneath the bathroom and kitchen sinks. Sometimes you can spot whether the homeowner has PVC piping for their water system, which is a huge no-no. You don't want PVC. Oftentimes, homeowner insurance, they won't even carry it for you. They won't even allow you to get homeowner's insurance from most companies with PVC piping, or they're going to charge you a heck of a lot because they know at some point that's going to break and cause a flood in your home. So sometimes you can catch that by simply looking underneath all the sinks. So definitely check that, and you want that to be PEX, certainly copper at worst, but PEX is always the best, just because it expands and contracts with freezing, and it does not wear out. Like, it doesn't have like a lifespan on this stuff. Will last forever. So that just popped into my head there real quick. I wanted to get that out. So anyways, have your basically have the important things like drilled into your mind, so that when you walk in, your emotions are not taking over and you are making the best educated financial decision, because you could go, hey man, like, yeah, it looks pretty bad right now, but for like $25,000, I could make this thing really pop and work for me and my family, cosmetically speaking. And the floor plan already works, kitchens, got the right amount of bedrooms, they're in the right location, good amount of bathrooms, all that good stuff, right? So those hardscapes are there, and you have the situational awareness to understand what you can and cannot do to that house and make it, be a really good home for you and your family for years to come, where so many other buyers passed on it just for those cosmetic reasons, and you saved yourself, 75 grand, 100 grand, because it wasn't selling just because of the lipstick. So keep these things in mind on what really is the important thing. Even write it down on a piece of paper, take that with you. Have like a credibility buddy with you, whether it's a spouse, a friend, mother, daughter, sister, whatever. And that way they can kind of say, hey, you told me to make sure you look at your list. And that way you're not letting the emotions come out, and you look at the important stuff. But yeah, with that, rambled on a little bit. I will talk to you all again soon. Appreciate you stopping by.